who has been commentating for a couple of hours now. Trenton, how do you feel?
Thud.
Well, we're going to try and pick him up off the floor as we continue this race, but I certainly hope you guys are having a good night, and I know I definitely am. Definitely looking forward to getting some of this action started. Things work a little differently tonight than you are probably used to. For the last couple of weeks, we've been running forays into Temple of Fiends. Well, not tonight. So tonight, the goal is to pick up 4 usable weapons or 4 usable armors. These are the castable armors or the castable weapons found throughout the game. You have to put them all on your thief and then show that screen in order to be able to finish. So this is kind of an expanded treasure hunt for all of those out there.
Yeah, it's very interesting. There's a good number of castable items in the game, but because you need all 4 of your completion items to either be the weapons or the defensive, it's going to be a little bit harder to narrow it down to just the 4 you need. So, yeah, the battle is on. Which way you go is going to make all the difference in the world tonight.
Now, I mentioned earlier that Temple of Fiends is not a required destination. Here is why. There are 14 possible items that you could pick up in order to fulfill this goal. There are 6 armors and 8 weapons. That is a total of 14 pieces. There are only 7 treasure chests in Temple of Fiends Revisited. Assuming that all 7 of them were usable items, there are still 7 usable items out there in the world, allowing our runners to find them and be able to finish the game without even setting foot beyond Garland. So you can see there's definitely an interesting party makeup. We'll tell you a little bit about the flags here in just a moment, but as our racers kind of get going, we're going to start plumbing through the treasure chests, and we're going to start digging out some of these useful items.
That is about the most evil that these shops could be to start off with. Because there was Fade, there was Warp, there was Life too. And how much of it can they learn? Absolutely nothing, because we're playing with spell permissions on.
So that is one of our first, I don't want to say debut flags. We did this for, I believe, the very final flag set of the winter tournament that had occurred a few months ago. So this is the first flag set that actually uses the magic permissions, the spell permissions on. So as you remember how the red mage, the black mage, the white mage can cast certain spells, you would know that things like warp, exit, fade, nuke, and some of the upper level spells are not castable by your lower level mages. In addition, this flag set is called the Useful Thief, not the Useful Ninja. So use of the tail in this game is prohibited.
All right, we've already seen the first of our items, which is the Power Gauntlet, was in Temple of Fiends. I'll be just keeping track by list is all we're going to be able to do right now. And we will just keep prized as best we can, so we'll know where the items are. And that'll also start to give us an idea of, especially later on, who got what.
Yeah, definitely. And it's sort of a blink and you miss it kind of scenario. As these are not key items, they will flash up on your screen and go away very quickly. So be sure to be glued to your screens to see who picks up what and when.
All right, Artea went right to Provoca and was able to ship. That's going to give him quicker access to a lot of the world.
Yeah, the early bridge certainly has made that possible, and a lot of players have opted away from the Garland fight and away from Temple of Fiends, opting to check it perhaps after one finds the ship. Usually this is good if you have some sort of early AoE spell that you can use to take out the pirates and get the ship and then sweep through in one fell swoop and get all 8 of the treasure chests you can get.
And interesting to see that Darkwing, I'm not sure if that one was a wipe or if that's another time he went to remake his party based on what he saw for the magic.
Yeah, Magic. This is a change that we've made in lieu of Magic Shop Shuffle. Magic Shop Shuffle is a fairly difficult sort of flag for many of our runners, as there's the possibility that you would not get a usable spell, period, in the first two Magic Shops, and so they have opted to turn Magic permissions on while turning Magic Shop Shuffle off, and we have lit 2 at 1, which will be used by all of our casters, Black Magic, Red Magic, etc.
So the way the permissions is going to work is because the Red Mage is able to learn Lit 2, the Red Mage is going to be able to learn Lit 2 at level 1. A Red Mage is not able to learn Lit 3. So Lit 3 can be at level 2, but not learnable. Hopefully I did a reasonable enough job of summarizing that.
Yep, so those spell slots that you might be looking for to see if a Red Mage can use that spell, throw it out and go back to your vanilla permissions. That is one thing that we have kept and have not randomized.
So the biggest thing we saw with that is that Warp at level 1, and it can't learn it. Life 2 was at level 1, and it can't learn it. That's where I was saying these are just the most... That is about as evil as the flags could... as the shops could be under these flags. That's what I'm trying to say.
Oh, definitely. And like I said, paired with the fact that the tail is prohibited from use, there is no way any of our spellcasters can learn some of the more important spells. Throughout the Stage 7 flags, you will see we cannot use Warp, we cannot use Exit. So getting out of dungeons after acquiring items is going to be a fairly interesting sort of proposition.
So as you are somebody who is going to be racing these, what's your initial thought? Are you thinking dungeons with more chests, or are you thinking shorter dungeons where I can get in and out faster?
I think it's a really tough call, because you have to be able to clear the dungeon. If you can't clear monsters in the volcano, it's very doubtful that you'll have any success if you go at, say, level 4. And so you may need to pace yourself to kind of make it to the end. I almost wonder if, not necessarily a vanilla trek, but I almost wonder if all of our runners shouldn't hit Marsh Cave, even if they don't have to, as it is, it's 10 chests that could contain an item that you could use.
Yeah, it's just completely different because you're not looking for these standard progression items. You are looking for, if you will, the scavenger hunt items, the ones that check off the parts of your list. So Marsh might just be sitting there with the black shirt. Well, if you add black shirt to the power gauntlet, you're 50% of the way to completion.
It's kind of like playing bingo a little bit.
Artea now able to pick up his power gauntlet. We haven't seen the dwarfs yet. We've seen Matoya's treasures and not found anything. TNT will allow our runners to explore more of the world, so that is one of the important items we're still looking for. Although theoretically, Marsh Cave could have 3 defensive cast items, and we could be done that fast.
It's certainly possible, because in addition to the progression items, we are looking for multiple items. It's not like the black belt flags where we were just looking for the opal bracelet and we were looking for the one chest in the sort of haystack. We're building the item list here, so it almost makes sense to me that our players should go Marsh, even if you find the TNT.
Fire 3 at level 3 is going to be Black Mage learnable, so that is a very big pickup for Marsh and for Earth.
Yeah, and that's good for Artea, who brought 3 Black Mages. It looks like between him and Minoshi, who are running the Black Belt Thief combo. Darkwing also running 2 Thieves and a Black Mage. Sho running 2 Thieves and a Fighter and a Black Mage. And so some variant of the high running away of the Thief itself. The Black Mage has the second highest run rate, and we see the Mass Immune is in the Dwarf Cave. Though not a usable item, it is kind of nice.
It'll help you get past an unpleasant fight, so it is a good item, just not necessarily one of the required ones. but it might help you if, say, Astos is going to be required, which we don't know yet, but it's possible. The one thing I'll say about Darkwing's strategy, I don't mind bringing the 2 thieves, but if you're going to bring one, I think bring 2, then I think one of them should be in the lead of your party, like Artea is doing, because that's going to help with ambush rates as well.
Yeah, definitely. And because this is a chest scouring flag set, we likely will not kill a single fiend. The only reason to kill a fiend would be for the free warp to the exit, and I don't know if that's really going to be necessary or not. And so the values are really going to be high run rate and enough levels to survive a couple of hits while you run.
Yeah, and it's an unpleasant thought to have to walk out of the volcano. By the time I think you're talking Sea Shrine and Sky Castle, you're probably not that worried. You're probably going to be just 1 item away from finishing, I would guess, at that point.
You certainly
Zombie
would hope
dragons,
so.
though, you're still going to want to kill, because that would make a difference.
Yeah, and chest check order is going to be something of interest as well, as the top floor, or the bottom floor, excuse me, of Mirage Tower is kind of a free floor to check. When do our runners check it? Do they check it in the process of clearing Sky Castle Floating Fortress, or do they hit it up? Oh, there's TNT in an interesting slot. Artea actually opting to check the bottom floor first and grabbing one of the linked chests from the top, and it happened to be the TNT.
And I'm not quite sure how we're going to track all this. This is going to be a work in progress, but I think we are going to track TNT, Floater, and Crown/Mystic Key, because those are likely going to be required items. Loot is almost impossible for that to be a required item.
It would, yeah. If you don't have to step foot in Temple of Fiends Revisited, you absolutely do not need the loot.
But there's not that many treasure chests after, so I just can't really imagine a scenario be required. I'm not positive of the math, and I'm not going to math after midnight on Twitch.
Well, don't worry, because I have actually done the math a couple of weeks ago, and so there are 231 chests in the entirety of the game, and only 7 in the Temple of Fiends Revisited. And so with there being 14 possible items that you could use, 7 of them, and assuming all 7 chests in Temple of Fiends are a usable item, it still leaves 7 in the outer world, which will give you 4 of one or the other.
Okay, there we go. So we know Temple of Fiends is not required, although it's still could theoretically be the path of least resistance, but you'd have to beat the Fiends for that to happen.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people are going to build parties not designed to defeat Fiends, so it's going to be interesting to see, because there's no inherent small percentage risk like when we did the pretty black belt flags. There was a 3% possibility that the Opal Bracelet could have been in Temple of Fiends, and so many players built parties not designed to kill Fiends, but rather for the sake of running. On the odd chance that it was in Temple of Fiends, they may have been out of luck.
So we know that Marsh Cave is required in this one, and sometimes runners will take the gamble to take a TNT out of the Marsh Cave and move on to the rest of the world as quickly as possible. I think especially with no warp and exit, you can't do that anymore. You've got to check all these treasure chests, because just getting one more item is so much more important.
Yeah, and I think we're not looking for like one item in a group. Like if you were just playing the game normally and you were going through the normal progression of looking for the floater to be able to go around and look for the other items, I would understand that. But in addition to the floater, you're looking for the floater and any possible castable items, up to 4 of one or the other. So with the sheer volume of items that you need, it just makes sense to go ahead and sort of plumb the depths of these dungeons early. The only reason not to is if you happen to have a good spell selection and you want to go get some sort of small grind on to make your dungeon crawling just a little easier.
Minochi now is able to locate the TNT. Runners will often go to that north side first, because you can get the item and get out faster. I wonder if you're not better off to go the other way, actually.
It's an interesting play because there are 2 linked chests here in B2 that very few runners. You saw Artia ran up and grabbed one of them. There are actually 2 linked chests in B2 that you can grab, which makes 8 possible items as you head towards the bottom floor. One of them is the easy one you saw Artia grab. The other one is actually a little out of the way, and so it depends on how you value the math. But it's 6-4. If you don't have the Mystic Key. Now, if you have the Mystic Key, go downstairs first, absolutely. But it's 6-4, and if you intend to check the whole thing anyway, I guess it ultimately doesn't matter.
I was thinking if your plan is check the whole thing, then to me it makes more sense to go to the south side anyways.
Well, I think many runners perhaps value the fact that they have to go against the wizards, and maybe if they gained a level or 2 in the top floor in the process, it would better suit them.
That is a distinct possibility. With the level 1 light 2, the lit 2, lightning 2, whatever you want to call it 2, they are a bit better situated to deal with the wizards, because although they're not weak to lightning, they are not resisting lightning, so it's the best element to use against them.
Yeah, and we actually also
have usually going to be enough.
And we actually have lit 3 at 2 or 3 as well, so that will definitely serve to help. And then did we say fire 3 was 3 or 4?
Right, but also their levels are pretty low, so I'm not sure how many charges they have. But level 1, I know they've got at least 2.
Yeah, you'll get through the pirate fight. Actually, one of the things I'm going to look at is experience. If we're at 4x plus 0, I can't remember if we're at 4x plus 0 or 2.2x.
I closed it, so I couldn't answer you.
We are at 2.2x. So coming out of the pirate fight, I think you're still going to be level 2, maybe level 3 if you've taken a fight here or there.
All right, Minochi is going to give us our first look at the wizards. He does have a charge of lit 3, which should make easy enough work of him, so of course 1 resisted and he's still alive.
Depending on how many charges he has, he'd probably pull out a lit. Okay, there's a lit 2 that takes care of him.
Yeah, Scorpions with slow, by the way, is supremely annoying because it's just going to take so long to get through the whole party.
Yeah, thankfully there are only 4 of them. I just can't imagine a fight where there are 6 or 7 and they're casting some sort of group spell.
Yeah, it's not going to kill you. It just takes so much time. It feels like it's killing you. And looks like Minochi's on the way out of here, so I don't think we saw anything else other than the TNT. Did see a silver bracelet, which is not a bad thing to have. It's just not going to make anybody's priority list.
Yeah, it's actually really, I mean, aside from maybe the levels, maybe that's what Minochi's walking out here. Because there wasn't anything particularly stellar in there that I recall seeing, and so he'd have to be coming out strictly for the levels.
He didn't get another progression item, or it would have been in the item menu, so that much we're sure of. It could also be the money. He could want all that money for purchasing spells. Or other good stuff, like armor, pro rings, cotton candy.
It's a little too late for sugar.
Coffee?
There you go. Yeah, so we've got lit 3 at 2, which gives the black mage a charge at 3. Or at 2, I'm sorry. RD Platypus pointing out in chat that Artea sold his mass immune for money. Not a bad call if all his thief is going to do is run away.
It's braver than I am, but that definitely describes Artea.
I think he's gonna spend his. I mean, the one player you'd put it on, he's gonna spend more time running, and then he'll just AOE everything. He's just gonna probably gain 1 or 2 more levels on his way to Crescent Lake, and then perhaps hit up Volcano or something, just to see what's down there. It actually wouldn't surprise me if Artea or any of our other runners dove straight to the bottom of the volcano first and worked their way back up. It would at least give them a sense of whether or not future dives, if they were to party wipe or otherwise, it would give him some knowledge on what that's like. But Volcano is just a really difficult dungeon for no healers and for low level parties.
Yeah, also interesting that Artea is in this part of the world. In the other rounds, we've seen him be one who really leans towards the early Earth Cave dive, and he didn't do that. Now, he needs more, which I guess is kind of an argument towards going to where you can complete a dungeon instead of not.
Yeah, and without the rod, I think perhaps he's feeling like, because he's looking for multiple items, perhaps he feels like he's just ready to search multiple chests, or maybe he wanted to see what's at 6, because it looks like he's heading back for the docks.
With the canoe, he could go anywhere, including Castle Ordeal, which would probably, of the available dungeons with this magic, that probably looks like the most reasonable.
Yeah, it's really not a bad play.
No, with no warp, the pillar maze is going to be a little bit more painful, but still.
Lit 3 at 2, Fire 3 at 3 is actually going to give him a good bit of tools to be able to take out the monsters in Castle Ordeals, and perhaps he comes out at level 14, 15. That'll help him in his Volcano or any other dungeon grind.
Yeah, and we might see levels 14, 15 be Hive. I mean, we'll see how the meta changes as we go along. But I imagine for a lot of people, they're going to be looking for the minimum level possible.
Yeah, certainly. Because any amount of time spent leveling that's not spent treasure chest checking, it kind of goes to waste.
But the idea of a grind is just completely off the table. You're not taking somebody to high levels, these flags. Without having to beat bosses, you would just get eaten alive for time purposes.
Definitely. And on paper, the idea, you want enough to maybe survive a couple of hits. Say this party needs to go to Sea Shrine or even Floating Fortress or something like that. You want to be able to absorb a couple of hits, but you really want run rate just to be able to get through them. And so certain things are going to be attractive over others. The spell selection is pretty good for Sea Shrine. Lit 3 for your Lit 2, Lit 3 for your unrunnable Wizhog fight, Fire 3 for your unrunnable Ghost fight.
Now, a fascinating question here is, do you save outside of Castle Ordeal? Because if you find nothing, and you're saved back at Elfland, you can reset and be back there that much faster. But question answered, Artea is going to save here, which I do kind of like, because with how many items advance your progress, it seems very likely at any given dungeon you're going to get something. Because something includes the wizard staff, something also includes the floater or the crown. Even the slab, it is still something that advances the cause.
Definitely, and with the way the Fire 3 is chewing through these zombies, it looks like he's definitely going to come out with a few more levels and a little better survivability. So it's going to be interesting to see where our runners diverge from here, because Lit 3, Fire 3 also can make for an Ice Cave dive if you really want to go Ice Cave and you don't want to go out of your way. To answer your question, Trenton, though, I think I'm not that brave. And I'd also be hoping there's a long run and encounters maybe 1 through 3. Because if there's a long encounter after a power cycle, I'm not worried about the travel distance. I don't know. I don't think it takes that long to get there, so long as your encounters are friendly.
This is a pretty nice pillar shuffle. The one I like to call the whammy pillar, which is the one that takes you back to the very start of the whole thing, came early, so Artea didn't lose much progress when he found that. And then it was second try of the 4 choices brought him to the end of the maze, which is much earlier and nicer than it could be. There's Thor's hammer, so that's one of them.
Good call by Artea coming to Castle Ordeals, giving him a usable weapon. Not just a usable weapon, but the Thor hammer is actually going to be good for getting the thief to actually be useful in regards to AoE encounters and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's a free lightning 2 every time you use it, so that now gives Artea 4 people who can cast an AoE, and that can do a lot. And Floater is here as well, so Artea managed to do what Artea does. He found the right place to go at the right time.
Are we sure that wasn't incentivized? That's incredibly good luck to find the floater in a non-incentivized chest.
Well, and Minochi is here now, so not far behind, but no, that is what it said. The rules of this round were non-incentivized ordeal. And Ice Cave not incentivized as well.
That's just some incredible luck then. That floater would end up in the incentivized chest despite not being flagged for it. We'll see if that's actually a helpful endeavor, because the floater is not necessarily required. We could have items in the Earth Cave. We could have items in the volcano. It could be what people need. Floater gives you a lot more options, certainly, but we'll see if it ends up being a bonus.
Okay, I just decided to go plug this in just to be absolutely certain. And nope, that is not an incentivized chest. It just happened to be that one.
That is pretty awesome. So we've got Sho in the volcano now, so he's going to give us our first look at what's in there. Vorpal Sword is a good weapon, but not a usable one.
It's good money.
It is good money.
That's all you're doing with it.
And Minochi is struggling a little bit in Castle Ordeals.
Lost his tank, but his next pillar is going to be the one that takes him to the staircase. The Zombies have squint. So,
that's wonderful.
Minochi might have to redo this.
Well, at least he has the knowledge of what the first 3 pillars are.
Well, and if he goes ahead and tests the next one, which I certainly would do before a reset, then that tells him the end of the puzzle. Maybe he tries to solo black belt this.
Yeah, we'll see. It depends on what his spell selection is like going out, but he doesn't have a lot of hit points, and now he has no hit points.
Yeah, but now he knows the path through the maze. So as long as he remembers everything, this is a really short dungeon if you know which way you're going.
So we've got Artea now checking out the Zardia Islands.
No combat here, so it makes a lot of sense. The Opal Bracelet is, well, I would say, useful.
But it's not usable.
One of the required items, but Heal Helmet is.
That should be... Is that 2 or 3 armors? I know we have a weapon. I can't remember if that's 2 or 3 armors.
I've got that as the second one.
Oh, and these red anklos are decimating Artea's party, and he's got to run back in and get that heal helmet again.
Yeah, we found the Power Gauntlet at Temple of Fiends. We found the heal helmet at the Zardia Islands. The other thing we found is the Thor hammer in Ordeal. So as far as required to complete the game, those are the ones we've found so far.
Yes, and if you guys know our scoring system, we score ours on a percentage of distance of time between first place and then the next runners and where they turn in. So the 4 items you find, it is certainly possible that someone comes in with a very low time, giving out a ton of chaos points. And there's the wizard staff, so now we're 2 and 2.
Where was the wizard staff?
Wizard staff is in Cardia Islands as well, on the left island.
Okay, that's fascinating, but actually weapons are behind armor right now because White Shirt's in the armory. So we've got 3 armors right now and 2 weapons located.
It looks like Cardia Islands is a pretty popular destination, despite only being 9 chests. I think the spell allotment and a lot of people's party builds are leaning people towards potentially gaining not just the floater and the Thor hammer, which they don't know, but rather the levels that they can gain with the spells that they have. So I think that's what's actually drawing a fair number of our runners to Cardia Islands. Or, I'm sorry, Castle Ordeals.
Yeah, well, the islands are going to be popular as well because of the lack of combat. So it's not surprising if when you get the airship, that you would go check those.
So Artea is going to...
Oh, Artea, this is just sick.
Yep, Artea
So because he's here and White Shirt is here, that's going to mean he's got 3 out of 4 on the armor side. He will need 1 more armor piece to be done. And we've only seen the first floor. For all we know, there is a second one here.
Yeah, this is definitely putting him in a good position to win this. Now, keep in mind, in addition to the 4 runners you see on your screen, we are actually also tracking 9 runners off screen. So certainly we will keep the action focused on the 4 that you see, but know that any one of these 9 runners off screen could find all 4 of the items before any of our runners on screen do, and we will certainly let you know if that develops.
There is the crown for show. We don't know if it's going to be required or not. It's not looking likely, but...
I almost think you take the crown bait, just because it gives you so many free chests to check, and if you went Castle Ordeals, you have the floater, so it's a really easy decision. If you don't have the floater, I guess it's tough because you have to sail that all the way into the island and then sail to the crystal and then sail to the, herb and whatnot. And so it just makes it a bit of a drag to try and check those crown chests without the floater.
Artea's got his White Shirt. He's going to walk it out and save it like that. You're 3 out of 4. Oh, he's going to leave.
He perhaps is looking at picking up some items, some heals, or party mates.
Okay. I'll buy that for $1. So anyone who does Volcano and Ordeal, we know is getting at least 3 out of 4. With Show, we're going to get an idea of if there's another one here.
Oh, and Artea has gone Ice Cave. That's
wow.
An interesting play.
So if I'm trying to get inside Artea's head, which is a dangerous thing for me to attempt, you're looking at that 3 out of 4 and saying, okay, where's the most chests that I can get to the fastest? And I guess he thinks that's here.
The one downside to the armor, if anybody has played bingo at home and you've got those 4 boxes and you're waiting for that last little number to pop up, there are only 6 armors in the game. Artea finding 3 of them means there's only 3 left across the rest of the game.
But it only takes 1. As Darkwing finds the floater.
Yeah, my thought process is perhaps Artea thinks the bottom of Volcano is either not dense enough or something other players would do, and he's trying to do something other players wouldn't do. It doesn't look like Show came out with anything down there, so it might be a good call to have skipped the bottom of that volcano.
Or at least looks like it definitely worked out. What Artea is now looking for is the black shirt, a second heal helmet, or the Zeus gauntlet. Those are the 3 items we haven't seen as of yet that would give him everything he needs to complete it. On the weapons side, we've seen the Thor hammer in Ordeal, we've seen the wizard staff in Cardia islands, Zardia Islands, that the floater can take you to. We've not seen the rest of the weapons. We've only seen 2 of them so far. I'm sorry, did I... You said we... Okay, that's right. I'm sorry. I thought you said there was a cast 1 in the volcano. Was the wizard staff and the islands.
Nope. Yeah. Yep, you've got it. I'm certainly glad you're writing this down.
Notepad, the ultimate tracker. And this is an experiment for us broadcasting this, because it's like, how do you track stuff in this round?
Definitely. And I tell you, I've got my eyes glued, on the screen looking at the 4 runners, but because the items that you can find are not key items, they can come up and down in a flash, and so it definitely takes a couple of sets of eyes to keep these things straightened out.
Yeah, if something's a key item, then it's got the fanfare music, but and then the message sticks up there for a couple extra seconds. But just standard items, if the screen is flashing, then you miss it. Bane Sword for Artea.
Sword. That's 2, so we've got 3 armor and 2 weapons.
And that's 3 on each side for Artea now, because he's been to the Zardia Islands, and he's gotten the Wizard Staff, he's gotten the Thor Hammer, and the Bane Sword. So now for him, Wedding is finding the Defense Sword, the Mage Staff, the Heal Staff, with 2
and
light
the
axes.
The Wraiths just wrecked his whole party.
And here's the worst feeling in the world. You almost have to go back.
Yeah, it's there. How do you get it out? And Wraiths are a common monster in this dungeon. Ice Cave might be prohibitive. I almost wonder if it's not worth abandoning. You know where it is. Perhaps you go back and wait till you get your 3rd weapon in another place, and then maybe come back and make it your 4th.
Or do you dive the cave differently? You're not going back for that Bane Sword. You're checking the rest of them, because if you see weapon 3, then you go back for that one.
It's definitely tough. I think if you're gonna scour the bottom, you grab the Bane Sword and then drop down the hole.
Well, and if it had been a different chest, it could make it really interesting, but you're only getting to that one from the start, so you have to get it there. You could skip the other one that he checked and found, I think, flame armor, so you can save those steps.
Yeah, I think if you're gonna drop down the hole, you should still at least grab the weapon, since you're gonna be there anyway, and there's really no good way back. Because you go down there and you find a 3rd weapon, you're like, oh great, I found a 3rd weapon. What can you do? You can't warp your way back to that room. So I think you try your best to go grab that weapon and then drop down the hole.
Well, the other thing it does for you is it's the Bane Sword. It can help you get out of fights by killing things.
Yeah, unfortunately, they're not going to kill these Wraiths, though.
Well, I mean, you can't have everything, or else I'd have strawberry shortcake right now.
As the great philosopher Jagger once said, you can't always get what you want.
Did Darkwing get a heal helmet?
He did. There was a heal helmet.
Okay, that's right. I'm sorry.
Yep.
Already on my list. I just can't remember what's on my list without looking at it.
So now we got Minochi walking out this volcano dive. There must be something good down there in the bottom of the volcano, because both he and Sho walked out, but I don't know what it really was.
I think in Minochi's case, he didn't walk out the first floor item. So I think he's walking out the first floor item plus experience.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and assume that's what Sho did, because I definitely...
It makes sense.
I always, if I search B2, I will always go back to the start and drop a house or at least some sort of safe thing and make that dive again, because diving B2 is not my favorite thing to do.
All right, here goes Artea through the ice cave again. Look at this hero run.
Yeah,
He almost did the first 2 floors with no encounters.
I'm almost afraid at this point, because you're going to hit a guaranteed Wraith trap tile. And so I almost wonder if one shouldn't leave and see if there's another weapon somewhere else in a perhaps more palatable place. Perhaps Earth Cave. He's got a fairly large amount of sufficient levels. Perhaps check to see if Earth Cave has a weapon, and as soon as you find a weapon, you bail and you run to the Ice Cave. I mean, yes, it's a little bit of backtracking, but it's that guaranteed knowledge. And you just fight and you grind your way over to that 4th weapon.
So let's take a moment here, do a little housekeeping before something happens. Thank you, Randomania 2, for hosting us tonight for this kickoff race of this stage of the league. We are closer to the end than the beginning, and Randomania has been great to work with throughout that, so thank you. Maximum damage, or maximum underscore, no, not damage, Barnage. I'm sorry, it's late, I'm tired. Thanks, Max, for being our restreamer. It's his first time helping us with this. He's done restreaming for Zelda 3, so you might have seen him if you've watched those randomizer races, but he has stepped in and helped us tonight. It is greatly appreciated. And Sho has now picked up the Mystic Key.
So Sho has opted to walk his Crown Key quest. We will see what that rewards him with. Huge thanks, yeah, to Randomania for definitely hosting us. Feel free to follow us on the Discord. The link was posted a little earlier. Feel free to join us if you like the action that you see. If this is something that tickles your fancy, by all means, feel free to come join us in the Discord. We try to be a loving and friendly community for anybody that wants to join our randomizer. Certainly feel free to get on our Discord. If you like the action that you see, feel free to give Randomania and its auxiliary channels a follow. If you like your runners, feel free to give them a follow as well. Many of them run content just like this in various other points of their streaming, and so all around we just are looking to build a better community for the Final Fantasy randomizer game.
Saw the Sun Sword and Aegis Shield in Corneria. I didn't get to see 2 of those chests.
Well, yeah. It doesn't look like he's got anything.
I don't see anything on the armor side.
So now we have Minochi following Artea a little bit. He's a little bit behind in regards to following, but he is following because he dove the bottom of Volcano.
Okay, Artea has the Bane Sword again.
Alright, only 2 Wraiths in this fight, so hopefully they don't mess him up real bad.
I like the nuke strats. It's safer than trying to run, and you probably need one of those Fire 3s to work.
Yeah, it looked like the Wraiths had in the 200 hit point neighborhood, but nothing too crazy.
So Sho's on a unique path here that does have the chance to pay dividends because nobody else is doing that.
Definitely, we love route divergences. We just love seeing, as the viewers, how many different chests you can open. If everybody followed the linear path, then it's just a simple race. Here, we can judge decision-making and whether or not someone made a good decision or made a bad decision based on what they found. There's the heal staff. Oh, boy.
That would do it. That would do it if anybody takes the bait.
Unfortunately, that's Sho's first weapon, and so if Sho would go Castle Ordeals, he would pick up the other 2 weapons. By proxy, he would certainly get the floater and then get the Cardia Islands to get his wizard staff, but that is his first weapon.
Artea just found the light axe. That is number 4.
It.
He's got the Bane Sword, the Thor's Hammer, the Wizard Staff, And the Light Axe Artea is our first place finisher, 42 minutes, 48 seconds.
And let the chaos point mounting begin. 1% of 42 minutes is... here's math over Twitch.
Live on Twitch. Yeah,
4.2 minutes is 10%, so 0.42 minutes, or roughly 26 seconds or so. Every 26 seconds is a 0.01 chaos point. So that's the one downside to these short finish times, is you will see the chaos points will just tick up, 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 up.
Yeah, and this is a chance for everybody to put up their score. Does Minochi have the airship? Has he gotten that wizard staff and Thor's hammer? Oh, he did Volcano first, right?
He did. He hasn't been. He did. He was at Castle Ordeals. He should have gotten his floater, and he should have done all those things.
Okay. Well, I know Darkwing did, so Darkwing here should be able to find his 2 items. Minochi's about to find that light axe. It's in this room.
And that should do it for Minochi as well. If he went the same route Artea went, he's just a little behind Artea in the routing.
I don't think he got the Bane Sword.
Oh, did he skip? Oh, man. So he would have just found the light axe, and he's...
That could have been a 0.
Oh, no. Well, no, that definitely would not have been a 0. Artea's finishing time is 42:48. If I'm right, 1.01 chaos points, 26 or so seconds. So we are already 2 minutes. We're already 2 minutes over.
Well, you can forgive me for thinking 2 minutes might be a 0.
Well, after last stage's race with, 2-hour finishes, absolutely. We had a number of 0.01 finishes in the last stage.
Ooh, Darkwing went the wrong direction. He was at Ice Cave. I guess he ran into the race and didn't want to mess with that.
Yeah, that's something that I kind of don't blame him. That's one of those things that could just turn somebody off to checking that. They think it's just not worth their time. I mean, we saw how much Artea wiped, but it was worth it. I mean, ultimately that grind, that risk of party wiping and everything ultimately paid off.
Files, for some reason, every time you don't enter the race, it's the perfect race.
Oh, absolutely. This was a full Castle Ordeal seed. Slim, or right for the picking, and no files to be had.
Tisk tisk. Okay, so Sho is about to get to Ordeal, where he will find the floater as well as Thor's hammer, and floater gives him access to wizard staff.
Yeah, which will then bump his weapon count up to 3. So then he will be at 3 weapons and I believe 2 armors. Or no, he'll be at 3 armors with the heal helmet. He'll find the heal helmet as well. He'll be at the 3 and 3. We'll be interested to see where he goes from there.
And there's defense. That should be it for Minochi. Minochi, check your inventory. Minochi, come on!
Defense, Thor, Light Axe. He actually didn't pick up the Wizard Staff or the Bane Sword. Or, no, there's something he's missing in there. He must have opted to check those before checking the free chests.
Wow.
Not that I don't doubt he can't get a win this stage, but every 26 or so seconds is a 0.01. And if he, for whatever reason, doesn't get a better score than this, he's definitely wasting some time here.
Yeah, Minochi has been one of our leaders in the league. He's put up wins in every round. Artea has also done that.
Yep, and Sho Fukamachi has put up wins in every round except round 1, where he has a 0.01.
Yeah, that .01 has haunted him this entire time.
Yep. And I think, if it weren't for that .01, you could kind of draw the line right between him and me in regards to kind of how the league bracket breaks down.
And off stream, it is Quicklet who has been our second place finisher with a time of 48 minutes 17 seconds. So a second place finish for him. Minochi is taking the crown bait.
Quicklet found the Zeus gauntlet, so that's going to be interesting to see from him where he got that.
I would guess based on the time it had to be crown locked. Maybe with the dwarves, I don't think we saw them.
So
Darkwing
unfortunately,
continues
Minochi's about to pick up whatever item was in. Was there one in here?
I didn't write one down.
Okay.
Yeah, not one here.
Yeah, Minochi has definitely thrown. He's definitely kind of thrown this game a little bit.
Temple of Fiend's Key has the heal staff. That's the one this should lead him to.
Okay, that's okay. Because Show has that one.
Yeah, Show went with the Mystic Key. Now Minochi's gonna check with the dwarves. Actually, we did see this now that I think about it. Just didn't write a number. Didn't write anything down, so I don't think we saw anything.
There is a ribbon.
Show's about to get Thorhammer. He's got heal staff.
Yeah, but he has not been to Castle Ordeals yet, so he does not have Thorhammer or the Wizard's Staff, nor the Floater, which is about to come up. So he's going to get Thorhammer there. He doesn't have Wizard's Staff. That is 3 of 4. Actually, that is 2 of 4, I'm sorry.
Thor's is going to be his second, and then Wizard's Staff will be 3.
We're missing one ourselves because he has that heal staff that nobody else has.
No, that's Temple of Fiends key locked.
Yeah, well, Artia got all the weapons, so it was Light Axe and Bane Sword and Ice Cave. That's what it was.
Yes. Yeah, 2 weapons were in Ice, which is why I thought Minochi was done and didn't realize it. But no, he just hadn't gone everything.
So Show's coming out with his Floater. I would still. Well, he's gonna get his wizards. He's gonna get a wizard's staff for his troubles. Still gonna put him at 3 of 4. He's also gonna get a heal helmet, which should put him at 3 of 4 armor.
Quicklet joins us now. GG on the second place, and tell us what you found.
Well, I found the power bonk, which I'm sure everybody found. The white shirt, which was in Volcano, the armory, so I'm pretty sure everybody found that too. I found the heal helmet, and I honestly don't think I could tell you where I found it because I don't remember. I went to Ordeals and found the floater, so it might have been there. But my last item was the Zeus gauntlet, which I found in the Earth Cave.
Yeah, we were wondering where Zeus Gauntlet was. Artea's winning were the Bane Sword and the Light Axe out of Ice Cave, Thorhammer out of Castle Ordeals, and Wizard Staff out of Cardia Islands.
Yeah, I had the Wizard Staff. I found the Thorhammer in, I believe, was in Ordeals also, or something.
Yeah, the heal helmet was also in Cardia Islands.
Okay, that's where it was.
And Minochi has just finished in 3rd. It looks like he was also able to get the weapons with Thor, Light Axe, Heal Staff, and Defense.
And I'm trying to remember, Defense was...
I think he just picked that up.
Crown locked somewhere.
I didn't write that down, so I think he just got that wherever he is, and I don't know where that is.
Oh, where was the crown?
The crown was in. I guess it had to have been Lower Volcano. That's actually what I'm thinking. They ran out.
Okay, yeah, two of my people were dead, just on the first floor of Volcano, so I just gave up. I said I'm not going to bother running back down. I'll just go somewhere else, and I found the floater in Ordeals. So
Yeah, that's kind of what Artea did. He just kind of checked first floor and then abandoned, or checked B2 and then abandoned any other hope of going down there. I think because it's the difficulty of getting out from down there. I mean, many of our runners struggled in that department too, trying to walk out their B4 loot.
well, with Mazmoon and the power bonk, I figured it might actually be easier. If there was something down there, I would just try and kill Carrie. But actually getting down there with all four guys alive was going to be pretty tough to begin with.
Sho just got his heel helmet. I don't think he's close on the armor
There should be
because
3. He should have the white
Zeus
shirt
would
from
be in
Volcano.
Earth. We haven't found Black Shirt.
He should have the white shirt, the heel helmet out of here, and the power glove.
Yeah, Power Glove was early. So that could be his third, but well, he is going to go to Earth Cave, so he'll be on the hunt for Zeus Gauntlet, whether he knows it or not.
So quickly, how deep was it in Earth Cave?
It was in the room with the 6 chests or 5 chests, right after the vampire.
Oh, okay. So it's kind of a deep dive. We are joined in chat by Minochi. Minochi, GG.
GG, guys.
How do you feel about that?
Bad.
So if you watch the VOD, I actually thought you were done before you were. But you walked by Banesword.
No, it wasn't Banesword. It was Wizard Staff. You didn't go to Cardia Islands to get the Wizard Staff.
Oh yeah. There was so many chests to check when I got the floaters, so I just pick one.
Did you opt to go right? Did you go right back into Volcano after you got your floater? Because you and Artea kind of followed the same path. You were probably just a little bit behind him, but you did a lot of the same things that he did, except you actually dove to the bottom of the volcano. That was the big difference between you and him until you started going other places instead of Cardia Islands.
Yeah, I found Light Axe in Ice Cave. So I was like, let's do the Crown Quest first before dropping by Zardia Island.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So then, yeah, you also did miss the Banesword. It's in the Holes room.
The one guarded by the mages.
Yeah, I didn't want to go see the mages. I just wanted to go check chest. It's faster that way, I think. In case like the mages have something nasty and I get wiped.
I mean, you're probably right in more seeds than not. In this particular case, you never know. I mean, Artea kind of struggled a bit with those poison rates, but the difference between him and say like Darkwing Duck is Artea really hammered it and just or really knew that's what he wanted, despite my thought that he would leave and then when he found something in say Earth Cave or say wherever else, then run back and grab it and be his fourth. But he was really determined to get the Banesword out of there.
That was kind of the way Ordeals was too, just getting down to the floater. Freaking mummies had Death Touch and Squint.
So did the spell permissions throw you off at all?
I've actually run 3 or 4 practices of this, so I was ready for it. Which is why, red mages are worthless, white mages are pretty much worthless unless heal 3 is like level 1, and even then they're not that useful. But you just pray for early level 2 and 3 spells, and you're good to go.
Yeah, I kind of thought that the level 1 shops were about as evil as they could be for having spell permissions on. All that good stuff just taunting you.
I spent some time outside of Crescent just to get money, because in my practice runs, going into Volcano with less than about 75 to 80 potions is just usually a terrible idea.
It doesn't do you much good if you find something but you can't get it out. So in your practice, would this be considered a faster seed, a slower seed? What have you found so far?
I think I only had one seed that was in the like sub 40 range. They usually tend to go about an hour or a little bit below. This was a pretty quick seed. Nobody had to go to Sea Shrine or Mirage Tower, so that speeds things up. I found the slab was in Earth also, by the way. So that might have been my next. If I hadn't found the Zeus Gauntlet, I probably would have just killed Lich and then tried to hit up Mirage.
And just do first 2 floors?
Yep.
Fair enough. Of course. Had airship at that point, you could get the cube. Speaking of, Sho just found the slab.
Yeah, Sho has definitely missed out not going Castle Ordeals.
Just think how different this really shows how different the game goes when you're in search for items mode instead of normal game mode. I mean, the difference it would be for people who found Floater and Earth Cave this early and they get to the end run and beat Chaos, it'd be huge advantage. Cloth isn't going to do any good. So it's kind of curious that in our first official run of this, we see first place happen via the weapons, which is the easier way, and second place actually ended up being the items.
It's funny because in the practice runs, I think I only had one time where I got weapons, and every other time I've gotten armor. I just tend to find the armor for some reason.
And it was funny because I think Artia reached 3 armor before anything else, and yet he finished with the weapons, and so it was just kind of an interesting swing.
Yeah, he would have had it would have been 3-2 when he went into Ice Cave. He's got the 2 weapons in Ice Cave. Artea says he knew he should have sold the Power Gauntlet. Darkwing, meanwhile, has defeated his second feat, I think.
Oh, jeez.
Well, I mean, you get kind of swag points for that.
The heal pots were so expensive, and I mean, cabins weren't super cheap. They weren't terrible, but I think tents were over 100 also. Everything was really expensive to see. Did anyone have to remake?
We saw a couple of that, and I think spell permissions might have been one, and I think the second, I'm not positive.
Because I bought Lit 2 on, I had 2 Black Mages. I bought Lit 2 on both of them. And that put me back enough that I couldn't afford to stay at the inn because it was 40 something gold. So I just decided YOLO and went up to Temple of Fiends and managed to make it out.
That is always a tough call. Going and buying all those spells and then finding out you can't afford to stay at the inn. I can't tell you how many times I've had to remake parties because I wiped somewhere because of that.
Darkwing is working.
That's why you try to cast Lightning too every time you go, just in case you can't escape.
Yeah, that's what I was doing.
Darkwing is working on the key quest, which he did Volcano and he did Earth, so he should have White Shirt and Zeus Gauntlet as well as Power Gauntlet. Has he not been to the Zardia Islands?
That would have given him the heel helmet.
Yeah.
Oh
That's
man.
that's what I'm seeing here.
It's totally floated, guys. It's like there's so many stuff you can check. So Zardia Island is like probably below on the the checklist. I know it's free, but like there's volcanoes, you have a bunch of chests early, and then there's ice cave, which you just like run and try to clear it pretty fast. So
I guess I'm
traveling
torn.
wise, you save a couple of seconds checking Zardia Lakes, I think, if the seeds goes long.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I'm torn because, yeah, I mean, I think you're right. It's just that having the free chests to be able to go check, I don't know. I guess it's a habit thing. And that's, I think, what Artea and a number of other runners ended up doing is just that sort of habit. I've got the floaters, got the airship. Go check the, go check Cardia Islands, Titan's Tunnel, and all that jazz.
And Show has just finished in 4th place with a time of 1 hour 3 minutes. He finishes with the Bane Sword, Heel Staff, Thor's Hammer, and Wizard Staff.
That is, at this point, unfortunately, good for a 0.3. So
That's better than 1. Hey, there's a ribbon. We didn't see that. I didn't see that because of lag earlier, but a ribbon in with the dwarves would usually be a great pickup.
and Show is just kind of messing around at this point and getting waxed by the wraiths.
Wait,
Well,
Wraith had
Quicklet,
poison? I didn't see that. Lucky me.
Quicklet, any final thoughts from you?
I don't know. Unfortunately, I only have a couple races, and it kind of sucks that this is so RNG based. So I really hope I can pull in something better than. I mean, I got 2nd place, and I think it was still like a 0.1 something.
Yeah. I mean, no offense, but I don't hope you do. But, I hope you do. I hope you do.
Oh come on! I'm not even in the 0 club.
No, but you are literally right behind me.
Yeah.
All right, Minochi, anything before you go off for lunch?
I need more food. Lunch is not enough, man. Anyway, let's see. I don't know. This is too RNG based. I don't know. I think I'll play the same the next time around because I just go chest per minute, and I'll try to chop off like as much time as I can save from places to places. But otherwise, I don't think it's a bad idea doing the way that I did today.
All right. Well, thank you both for the time and for putting on a good show for us tonight. Also, while we're saying thank you to everybody who decided to spend their late night / morning with us, whatever this is at this point. I've lost track. But for those of you enjoying the randomizer race, thank you for that. So, Key-locked Temple of Fiends would give Darkwing the heel staff.
Then he would have heel staff. He's got his floater, so heel staff, Thor hammer, wizard staff.
I don't think he has the wizard staff, or he should have the heel helmet and be done. I don't think he's been to the islands. Well, he didn't have the power golem. Was that it?
Wait, did he
So
not?
it's
He never went to
white
Temple of Fiends at
heel.
all? He
Power,
might have died.
that'll
the
do
power
it.
gauntlet at the start. That was it.
Wow.
And that's it. Darkwing Duck finishes in 5th place with an SRL time of 107.11.
Those first 3 chests.
We are joined in chat right now by Sho Fukamachi. Sho, GG, tell us about your day.
Well, after the Power Gauntlet in Temple of Fiends was nice, so I guess Ice Cave was definitely the play. I took the Crown Bait, and that yielded basically nothing other than a heal staff. So that took a lot of time. And then I went to Ordeals. I found the floater, and I was like, oh, man. So, and then Earth had nothing. Did Earth have anything? Oh, I had the Wizard Staff, maybe? I don't remember.
Zeus Gauntlet.
Oh, was that
That-
farther down?
Yeah, that was B4 after the
Okay.
vampire.
I took the run. Oh, okay. So, where did Artea go? What was his route? Because I mean, he finished obviously really fast. Did he go to?
Oh yeah, definitely. He went right to Ordeals. I mean, he checked Marsh Cave because I think just there's a bulk number of chests, so he went Marsh Cave and just about checked it fully. He actually went down and took one of the link chests that happened to be the TNT, and so he went, he dove, came out, and then after all that, he basically booked it right for Castle Ordeals, and it had that, and it snowballed him. Cardia Islands, B2 Volcano, then stepped out and went ice.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, GG Sim. Yeah, I also dove the bottom of Marsh just because. Why not check it? I mean, we're there, and Lit 2 and 3 were well. I didn't think we could learn Lit 3. I thought that was a class change.
They can I think all 3 third level spells are available to black
Yeah.
mages.
If you can learn like 1 level spells 3, you can learn all 3.
Yeah, okay.
Well,
So what
Darkwing
would
joins
my-
us here.
What would my time have been had I remembered that the Power Gauntlet was in Temple of Fiends?
So your last item would have been
Probably 5 to 8 minutes less.
Was it only that much? Because my last item was what, the white shirt? That wasn't the Power Gauntlet, and where was white shirt? That was Earth Cave, wasn't it?
White shirt was Volcano. Zeus
okay.
was in Earth.
Okay.
So had you gotten it before and then took a wipe?
Yeah, I took a wipe, and then all I remembered was the silver helmet. I didn't remember the Power Gauntlet.
Yeah,
Silver
did you
helmet
get
was
up?
the first time.
Did you get up to Cardia Islands with the heel helmet?
Yeah. Yeah, when I got to, that's the first thing I went to was Ordeals.
Man.
Yeah, that's where we had gotten off track, is we didn't realize you hadn't left with the Power Gauntlet.
Yeah. Because I got a wipe, and it's like, all I remembered, I don't know why. I had in my mind that I had the Power Gauntlet, but I thought it was a previous FFR I'd done, that I had the Power Gauntlet early. And then it started eating at me, and I found the crown, like, oh, I got to go check it again. And once I was there got the heal, I got 7 items. It's terrible, but whatever, it happens, I guess.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we appreciate all of you for racing tonight and for joining us here post-race. Any final thoughts?
When is the next race?
The next race is going to be Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern. Tuesday night, 9 p.m. Eastern.
Yeah, God, I'm not gonna get to do a whole lot of these. I don't think so. I bet. Unfortunately, Tuesdays I have class, so I won't be able to do that one.
What was Artea's path?
So after Marsh Cave, he bolted right to Castle Ordeals.
That's what I did. Yeah, that's exactly what I did.
Then he went B2 Volcano and then bailed after getting the white shirt.
Okay,
Where
that's
he went,
kind of
where,
what I
and
did.
then he went Zardi Islands as well. So it was
Yeah.
Ordeals, Zardi Islands, B2 Volcano, Ice Cave.
Oh, what was an ice cave? Because I
Both
wiped
of-
in there.
Bane Sword and Light Axe.
Oh, so he ended up with the weapon.
Yes,
Yeah.
he had the weapon requirement. In that, we also have our 6th place finisher, Brilliant, finishing with an SRL time of 1:11:35. So we are still kind of tracking runners off stream, but we are kind of wrapping this up. So
Yeah, and from here we're going to be sending things back over to the Randomania Marathon. And we just had our NPC showcase event earlier this evening. That was quite a eventful time. But Randomania has been a great partner of the Randomizer, and we're happy to show some support there.
yeah, absolutely. And I'll just take one last chance to plug our Discord. If you haven't already joined, feel free to come join our little community. We're definitely a friendly, helpful bunch. We love to see more players get plugged in. Definitely want to take the opportunity to thank Randomania and its auxiliary channels for hosting us. Feel free to give them a follow. Much appreciated. Thank you to Maximum Barnage, for doing our restream tonight. As always, it's a pleasure. Thank you to Trenton for sticking this out and being my co-pilot on this one, coming off of the commentary for the NPC Shuffle Showcase. Give Randomania and all of its auxiliary channels a follow. Give these runners a follow as well if you want to see more content just like this. And feel free to get in on the discussion for our spring tournament that is coming up. We are going to be starting our signups, I believe, April the 20th. I want to say, so that's when the signups, I believe, are going to begin, and it's going to get started here in May. So if that is something that interests you, feel free to jump on our Discord, join the discussion, and we certainly love to hear from you guys. So for Trenton, I'm going to go ahead and sign this one off. So ladies and gentlemen, that has been Final Fantasy Randomizer. That has been Useful Thief. I have been Sforzando, and good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone.